joined here by James Deans and Peter Berv, and this is just a little pre-conference hang. I mean, this is like right up to the midnight hour. It's the witching hour and the eve of human design.
It all goes down tomorrow.
In the high desert.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you guys talk, but you were just having such a great conversation in the hall. I had to grab you and nab you.
All right.
Bring you back here. I love what you said, Peter, which is that when you think you're sick of human design, you think you're done with it, and you're done reading about it, that it's not actually just about the knowledge, that actually it's about the sensitivity, and that you're actually graduating. And I really like that. So
absolutely. I mean,
I heard you guys talking. And
it's all about living it. It's all about embodying it. And, people do, you can get one reading and that can be enough. That can set you on your path. I mean, the multidimensional nature of human design is that you can focus on one thing and the whole, it's a fractal.
Yeah.
It's a fractal. So you can tap into a geometry that can still take you to transcendence or awakening.
Yeah, I like what you said about, I know what you mean by reading it. It's just like the Agni Yoga books or these things. As I read them, the words are there, but they're just trying to lead you to another place where you don't need the books anymore. I mean, I was going into my teacher's bookstore and buying all these books, and it came to a point where I'm like, another book? You're not even done reading all the other books. You're going to buy another book? Like, really? And all the books are saying, do the work.
Experiment. If you break the word down, experiment. Something like outside the mind. It's outside the perimeter of the mind. It's embodied.
And we're getting the mind to work, to be, I always tell people that the mind is your best coworker at your business, but it's not the boss. We're getting, where's your authority at? That will be your boss. And the mind should be sharp and great, but put it in its place. Surrender. That's been my word for a long time. Just surrender. And to find out I have innocence, when someone said that to me, when that was said out loud.
Yeah, you've said that to me a few times already.
Yeah.
So that's something you're keenly aware of in your experiment right now.
Because I already knew the feeling before I had the word. I knew through the meditation, the years of meditation, through the years of experimenting with not existing, not needing to exist, but still existing, if that makes sense. It's a paradox of I can be in a room and I don't have to be the center of attention. I don't need people to pay attention to me. I like to exist and get in where I fit and have a conversation over here and sit over here, have a conversation, and then go to bed and let them know.
So that's innocence is a 6 color, right?
I'm not sure. I'm still new and learning a lot, so I'm not sure what color it is, but I know it's innocence.
Well, my design earth is the 55-3, which is also called innocence.
Okay.
So it's actually interesting to see how I've been thinking about this theme of innocence lately, because I literally was just doing my nighttime routine the other night, and I heard this voice which said, go look up your design earth. And I'd been feeling this kind of guilt lately. And I've been feeling this open heart, themes of the open heart lately. So I'm not doing good enough. I had to push myself harder. And then I go and read about innocence. And somehow the guilt and the innocence felt, in that context, felt really what I needed to hear in the moment. That when we live correctly, everything somehow works out perfectly. And there's an innocence to that.
Yeah, it's like Ross saying that you can't do perfect timing. You have to be perfect timing. And that was innocence to me of, again, not needing anything, but to just be and see what happens. Let it unfold. There's the Tao again, right? Let the moment unfold. Play your part. These days I've been saying words that would have insulted people in the 90s. Know your role. Stay in your lane, right? Speak when spoken to. Old kid. And it's like, those are the greatest sentences for my life. Know my role. Stay in my lane so I don't crash into people, because we don't want to crash anymore, right? No car crashes. And learn to speak when spoken to. Learn to sit in that silence, the voice of silence, soak it in, let the moment unfold, and when I'm recognized, invited, then I'm able to share, and the frequency is right. That made so much sense. When I've got the answer, or I see something I could help you, and I'll say it, and they get it, but it's almost like they forget 30 minutes later because they didn't ask for it, and we didn't lock into the right frequency. But I'll have someone come back a month later and say, hey, you were telling me about something. What was that? And then we'll say it, and then all of a sudden we're having a 2-hour conversation. Halfway through, they got some tears kind of dropping a little bit, and it's like we really have that talk that I've always hoped to be able to play that role for people, just to help, because someone helped me along the way. I've had those talks where people have opened me up to myself, and I always wanted to be. I always wrote reflection in graffiti, just reflect. Mm-hmm. And someone just told me earlier that because of the unconscious in my chart, like because the channels have some unconscious in it, that's stronger than the conscious. Have you heard that too? That those lines,
the unconscious channels.
Yeah, if you have like a half conscious, half unconscious, the unconscious is the dominant line. I don't know if you've heard that. I was just told that by somebody earlier.
I mean, you're aware of, you can identify with the conscious
Mm-hmm.
gate.
Mm-hmm.
The unconscious gate you don't identify with, but other people see it in you. It takes over. So that might be what they mean by it's stronger, where there's a theme of the unconscious, which is a little autopilot. So it just comes out of you. Sometimes there's awareness around it, and other times it's just like breathing. Sometimes you can be aware of breathing, but otherwise it just happens on its own.
The cosmic breath. I've been so she was relaying it more to like you might feel like a reflector sometimes, where you're completely open because of the unconsciousness of, even though I have 2 defined centers. For me, I understood that already. I felt even with just 2, I feel like such a reflector because I've got everything else open. So let's say performing, when I freestyle, I'll get on stage and it's like I know how to be my authentic self, and I know how to say it. And I also, when I'm speaking with someone, I feel like I can intuitively feel what's not me. I can cut it with a cookie cutter. Well, this is where I would be because this is what I am, right? And then I can take all that other and put it into the centers it belongs in, and then reflect it right back to them in an amplified way. And I think about producing, and I've always been able to, they have this song, and like, oh, that's your song. Well, oh, that's awesome. Your piano's here, and look how you did this. And I'll have the person going, whoa, I didn't know my song was that. And I said, yeah, and you're like this. And I'll just expand them to let them feel their real power and depth that they have.
Mm-hmm. And like a synesthesia experience.
What is that?
Where light or where sound takes form.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that. But
with actual well, it depends also what your cognition is too, in a way. I mean, my cognition is feeling, and so I can for instance, I do body work.
Okay.
I can touch someone, and I can, even just the quality of the tissue of the muscle tells me a whole story. It's there's information, and I feel it.
Outer vision. And someone had told me, I think I was listening to Raw, and he was talking about, you can go into their place and they'll have all this color up, and if you go to my studio, if you open the garage, I stickers everywhere, and just every.
Well, dude, you're a creative role model. That is your authority.
Yeah, that's always been just like, because my friend told me one time he liked when he would be writing raps and he'd get stuck, he'd look around a room and he'd look for inspiration. Mm-hmm. So forever I've filled my studios just with art and books and stuff. So just when people are in there and I'm mixing or something, you can get a little bored, and if they're just not doing nothing, if they're chilling on the couch or so, they have so much to take in and be a part of inspiration can hit them at any moment, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. I like what you were saying too about being a 1/4. And this was the conversation in the hallway. Being a 1/4 and how it's like a continuation, like your your fourth line unconscious just wants to externalize your foundation, and we were talking about the synthesis and how you don't have to, you can bring it all with you. And that I like feeling that through your lens of a 1/4, where it's like, oh, I don't have to cut off this old you know, oh, I was into this kind of spirituality and that's not cool anymore. And
Yeah.
and now it's like, no, this all
How does it?
this all feeds into where it's all going. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, suddenly this is all part of me.
Yeah, and that's the synthesis of knowing that exactly what you said. Okay, the stuff I've learned in the past, and I always said that I felt I had the open mind where I have this belief or say a thought, and then if you say something that is the evolution of that thought, I have to be willing to go, oh, thank you very much for all those years, but now I've heard the new truth. Because I think it was Gift of Gab might have even said that you can hear truth, like the frequency vibrates, and like, oh, that's why rap music was so strong to me, because I just heard truth. Like they were just dropping so much truth, and I was like,
well, you're an individual too, so you're acoustic, you're sensitive. You pick up information through the acoustics.
Yeah, and I'm a bass too, so I've got the memory. It's where like remember my written raps, even though I much prefer freestyling because I always say I'm much faster freestyling. Like I like writing, I can recite my songs, I like them, but it's not the same. They're too slow. It's like, and I'm rapping this, and it's like I keep writing fast raps, and it just isn't the same as freestyle. Right there. What's happening? Where are we going? You know, and that's soaking in the room. And then when I read The Music of Life by Hazrat Inayat Khan. Are you familiar with Hazrat Inayat Khan?
Mm-hmm. Sufi poet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Used to be one of the greatest sitar players in that time, and he gave it all up to be the poet because he felt it was a higher calling to do the spiritual work rather than play the music and which I thought was really interesting. I was like, well, can you do both? Yeah. But he said in there that the people who would play the sitar don't have set lists. That they would go sit on the stage and they would tune, and sometimes the tuning might take an hour. They would tune to the room, and they would tune, and then they would just play, and it would swell into the playing, and all of a sudden, an hour later, you're in this you went through this journey with them, and I thought to myself, that's been like me freestyling my whole life. I just walk up, I have these beats, I just put them on and go. Sometimes it's this, and sometimes it's that. You know, one of the greatest experiences I ever had was in Arizona, right before I moved home in 2001. I played pretty much my first show. I'd been part of little things, but I was never booked. They booked me to open the show, and I was super stoked, and I went and freestyled everything. And when I got off stage, I was watching the next group, and I was drinking this water, and this young lady came up to me, and it was kind of packed, so she didn't even try to go in front of me. She came up to my right ear, and she said, I don't even want to be here right now. I don't even like hip hop. And I don't know who you are or where you came from, but everything you said, you were talking to me tonight. She goes, I tried to kill myself earlier today. And the reason I'm here is because my friend brought me to the show because he didn't want to leave me alone because he thought I'd try again. And like I said, I didn't want to be here, but you were talking to me and answering questions in my mind while you were rapping. So I don't know what you were doing here or how this happened, but she goes, I feel better. I'm going to go home now. And she came around, and she was probably, she must have been 18. I think you had to be 18 to get in. And she gave me a hug, and she left. And at that moment, I felt like it was what I always prayed, just use me. Let me be of service. Let me help. And I just looked up to the sky, and I just said, thank you. And I was like, that's what I'm living for, hopefully, to make those moments. And it was all freestyle. I couldn't tell you one thing I said. But my only gift to the world was I'll try. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. All my favorite musicians were way better than me. I didn't have the metaphors, and I couldn't write like AC Alone was my favorite rapper in the world, and Gift of Gab and these people. And I just felt like, well, I'm trying to figure myself out, and I think everyone's really trying to figure themselves out. So I'll go put myself in front of people and be the fool. I'll put myself on the line, risk embarrassment, and put it out there to say, what are we doing? What are we figuring out? And maybe I'll connect with people who are also trying to do that same thing. And that's what hip-hop gave to me, that chance to just be that voice. And with the G to the throat, with awakening, and that's what I felt when I found out it was the commitment to higher values, either through love or through basically hate, being hard on yourself. That's been a huge journey in my life too.
Do you have a defined head?
Mm-mm. Wide open. I do have the 24, and I think I have the 17. And I think that's it. Well, I have it right here, don't I?
Right on.
Yeah, no, I guess I have the 24. I have
right
the 47.
Dude, this guy's leadership leadership all the way. He's got 3 channels between the G and the throat.
But have to be elected. And then I read something just the other day on my chart. It said, I have leadership, I have the ability for leadership, but because of my innocence and this some part of my nature that's more like laid back and neutral, that I might not be the best leader in like situations where things need to get done real fast. Which I kind of always felt that I always was a busser, never a waiter.
Leadership can look like a lot of things.
I like almost help leaders.
And you've got 3 different kinds of leadership channels. So your leadership is going to be, it's all the expressions of the self.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
This girl came to my house one time and she was reading my raps and she was going through them and she goes, I. Every time I said I, she just threw it aside. I. Just always start with I. So egotistical. And maybe that kind of changed me into the we's. I started changing to we more and thinking, and my philosophy teacher said, oh, that was a great evolution for you to go from I to we. And then now, to
You're
find
like,
out that 1-8.
Fuck you guys.
And I got put on blast in the Human Catalyst group one time. When I first joined, I said, I'm going to write this book called Projectors' Greatest Hits. And that's when projectors try to manifest and shit happens to them. You know, you try to throw a show and you get double booked. You book a tour and your car breaks down. It's like, I can manifest, but things will happen and I can find my way through and I can get that $30, take a couple hits with it, you know, and I'll do it, but you're going to take your hits. And then this girl, she was from Europe, she jumped on the thing, she goes, and I told him I was a 1-4, I think I said everything I was, because she goes, you're a 1-4, not a 5-1. Stop trying to universalize. And I got it. She helped me so much right there, because I had a couple friends that were 5-1s, and I got it. They're on stage saying, we can do this. They're the left angle. They're here for the people. They're here to lead in that way, right? They can universalize. Where it was for me, it was that 1-8, where I need to be my unique self, and people in my fractal and frequency will get it. And I was like, they took so much pressure off, or the extra I thought I had to do. She freed me. And I just said, thank you. And she said, thank you for taking it that way and not coming back and like fighting with me, you know? So
we're individuals, man. You know, and there's that sensitivity to acoustics. And here comes Jonah. You know, he's got it too. I think I don't have your design too memorized.
How's it going, guys?
Good. Is that still recorded on the screen?
Oh yeah.
Shut up. I just want to say I don't mind. I don't need to see it. I just want to make sure it didn't.
We are definitely recording.
Okay.
We're on. So yeah, it's just a little report from out there. Everyone's really happy. They're all smiling and beaming, and really excited for tomorrow.
Oh man,
and really excited for your talks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So okay, you guys keep going. I just had to grab something.
I think I'm good, man.
You're
Good.
good? You guys are good. Okay. Well, then we'll wrap it up. Thank you. I can't wait to hear what you guys were talking about. And
thank you. I appreciate you reflecting.
We're gonna have a cipher.
Yeah.
But we're gonna by the end of this week we're gonna teach the whole Living Your Design course in rhyme.
Perfect.
Dietrich told me to do it. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're gonna move through these channels and move through these gates. That's just how it happens. It seems to be fate. Is there choice? Is it free? I don't even know. I'm gonna keep on figuring it out. Everywhere I go, I got a 5-1. I'm trying to remember my man. I think it's 3-5, but I could be wrong. I'm right. Just try that right mind. You know how it soaks it in. That's why I break it down with all these new friends.
Wow. Woo! That was good.
Yeah.
See, we're living it.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I'm really stoked for your classes. When I saw the shamanism, I was like, that's the one I was like, first one to click that one. I want that one because it's again it really.
James was ready the morning of the RSVPs to click, and then we delayed it a day. He's like, "What the fuck?"
I was up at 4:30 in the morning, an hour back.
He was like ready to go.
I felt. I was like, I'm not gonna. This man is
betrayed.
busy. I'm not gonna email him. You know, I was up at 4:30 in the morning trying
4:30 in the morning.
trying to get these things.
You betrayed me, Jonah. I was awake. I was
the
ready
next day
to go.
I was right there again. Same thing because I usually get up early to meditate anyways in the morning. So.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, it's an
promise
investment.
hour.
You're coming all this way. You want to get what you want, you know.
But in the thing, I'm innocence too, and I kept making jokes that I made a desirable schedule.
It is a desirable schedule. I was like, good job on the schedule. You crushed it on the schedule.
But I'm also down to
Yeah.
flow because we went through the whole schedule last night together, and he was like, "Well, this is really good," and he kept telling me there were RSVPs. I'm like, "Why didn't I sign up?" That it's okay. Just go hang out anyway.
What people didn't realize about the RSVPs, we did it so we would know what would fill up, so we could schedule. Like we moved yours to a bigger venue, and that's why we did it.
Oh,
But you
But
have
it's
the
kinda-
bouncer at the door, right? Just to like
just to make sure it doesn't get 12. Sorry, you're the 13th person. You're out of here. No. People get. I mean, that's the thing is I don't want people to like diminish their RSVPs, but they were really helpful.
No one's
Because
no
then
one's
we
gonna
knew-
be turned away.
Yeah, exactly. They were helpful in just kind of getting a sense of
You know,
where
if it's like this,
yeah, we're gonna be like
we're
this. the
gonna
whole
be
time.
in aura,
Exactly.
Literally, yeah,
Deep
yeah.
Deep in
aura.
aura.
Yeah, this is a
deep aura.
deep aura contact. That's HD after dark. Right
Yeah.
Okay. On that
Awesome.
note,
Perfect.
it is the witching hour. So
Okay.
until next time. Thanks, guys.